cabinet reshuffle done to meet current demands and situation. Digital Ministry set to push digital agenda more assertively. Good evening and salam Malaysia Madani. You're watching Malaysia Tonight. I'm Shuhaida Arifin. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim today announced a major cabinet reshuffle, the first under his unity government as it enters its second year of administration. Datuk Seri Anwar said the cabinet reshuffle was done as the government needs to make adjustments to meet the current demands and situation. Datuk Seri Anwar, who retained the Finance Minister portfolio, said that the reshuffle was necessary to address every change in terms of economic development and issues affecting the people, including the cost of living.
Juga penerimaan peringkat antarabangsa yang meletakkan tugas di Kementerian Luar Negara juga berubah. Kemudian juga isu-isu pendidikan tinggi, terutama dalam beberapa usaha kita meneroka beberapa bidang baru seperti artificial intelligence, digital transformation, yang menyebabkan saya memikir semula untuk membuat sedikit sebanyak penyesuaian melihat kepada keadaan dan tuntutan semasa.
The restructuring of the cabinet was made after discussions with the leaders of the main component parties in the unity government, and the list of names was submitted to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah for consent. Datuk Seri Anwar's announcement also saw the numbers of ministers in the cabinet expanded from 28 to 31, while the number of deputy ministers was increased from 27 to 29, bringing the total number of the unity government administrative members to 60. Now, today's announcements also saw two ministries were restructured, involving the Ministry of Natural Resources, Environment and Climate Change, which is now split into the Ministry of Energy Transition and Public Utilities and the Ministry of Natural Resources and Sustainability. Meanwhile, the Communications and Digital Ministry is also split into the Ministry of Communications and the Ministry of Digital. Following is the list of new ministers and deputy ministers following the cabinet reshuffle announced by Datuk Seri Anwar today. Now, the decision to split the Communications and Digital Ministry in today's cabinet reshuffle is to address communication and digital transformation in a proper manner. According to Datuk Seri Anwar, there were many criticisms levied against the government, and communications aspects via social media had been quite a challenge.
The criticism that has been levied against us is that while some of the policies are impressive, the communications to impart and disseminate the information has not been that effective or satisfactory. So there must be this focus.
On the digital transformation, which is said to be challenging too, Datuk Seri Anwar said there's a need to address the issue as it keeps changing and new interests are emerging.
There are new data centers, new interest in AI, the need to enhance the understanding of students at various levels. So it's a very challenging task.
Fahmi Fadil, the current Communications and Digital Minister, is named as Communication Minister, while Damansara Member of Parliament and former Communication and Multimedia Minister Govind Singh Deo as the Digital Minister. On the appointment of Employees Provident Fund EPF Chief Executive Officer Datuk Seri Amir Hamzah Azizan as Finance Minister too, the Premier said he was the right person for the position.
And he has shown enough competence, ability, and has managed the affairs of EPF in a very impressive and satisfactory manner. And I think I have built this general consensus that the Ministry of Finance, other than being headed by me, must have a strong professional team to ensure that we are on the right track and focus on the economy.
The MyDigital ID system has received certification by the internationally recognized Common Criteria Certification with EAL3+. According to Mimos Berhad, it does not store any biometric data such as fingerprints, iris scans or facial recognition, nor does it use any chips or implants. MyDigital ID also does not collect, monitor, share or store users' personal data or online activities or allow users to have more than one digital identity. Furthermore, it does not function as a substitute for MyCard for proof of identity, and the use of this system on the government portal can also guarantee secure transactions through a cryptographic-based system that ensures its security. Mimos Berhad, in a statement today, also explained that MyDigital ID represents the government's commitment to providing easily accessible and secure digital services for all individuals. It signifies a significant step towards a user-friendly and secure digital environment and is in line with the government's vision of using technology to empower people. The Malaysian Fire and Rescue Department JBPM issued a total of 464 fire hazard notices to 85 premises that were converted into tiny room rentals likened to birds' nests. The notices were issued during a special fire hazard inspection carried out on 247 premises throughout the country since 26 October. According to Local Government Development Minister Nga Ko Ming, the Federal Territory of Kuala Lumpur had the highest number of notices with 113, followed by Pulau Pinang with 71 and Sarawak 57 notices. 90 notices were issued for the offence of moving or neglect of firefighting equipment, followed by improper installation of safety equipment. Other offences included insufficient exits, using harmful materials that could disrupt firefighters' duties, renovations that could complicate evacuations, and congested entertainment centres or public gathering areas that would hamper evacuations. Rental rooms likened to birds' nests are referring to small rooms that do not adhere to fire safety features and have not received approval from relevant authorities in their renovations. Next up in our business segment, Malaysia Auto Show aims to achieve more than 1 billion ringgit potential sales. The new Chief Executive Officer CEO of the Employees Provident Fund EPF will be announced in due course after the appointment of Datuk Seri Amir Hamzah Azizan as Finance Minister 2 effective today. In a statement, the EPF said Datuk Seri Amir Hamzah has played a pivotal role in the fund's growth and success throughout his tenure as CEO. It said that his key achievements include steering the EPF through various economic cycles and challenges and consistently achieving positive growth in investment income. The EPF board, management and employees congratulate Datuk Seri Amir Hamzah for the appointment as the Minister of Finance too and are confident that his leadership will contribute significantly to the economic development of the nation. The appointment of Datuk Seri Amir Hamzah was announced by Prime Minister, who's also Finance Minister, Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, at the Prime Minister's office PMO at 11 a.m. earlier. Datuk Seri Amir Hamzah was sworn in as a senator in Dewan Negara earlier at the Parliament today. The Economy Ministry welcomes the readiness of state governments to offer land to expand the Farming Entrepreneur Initiative in Tan under the People's Income Initiative IPR program to other states, which aimed to help more hardcore poor individuals come out of poverty. Its Minister Rafizi Ramli said that the biggest challenge in implementing the initiatives is the lack of land. Therefore, the state government must work with the ministry to ensure the success of the initiative's mission. The Northern Corridor Implementation Authority, or NCIA, has been mandated by the Economy Ministry to implement IPR in Tan and CER on 5 farms covering 42.49 hectares, including 2 in Hulu Kinta Perak, 2 in Chuping Perlis and 1 in Bukit Tangga Kedah with a project duration of 3 years. Meanwhile, Rafizi said IPR in Tan and CER will create 175 jobs for the local people comprising the B40 group, the poor and hardcore poor with an expected minimum monthly income of 2,000 ringgit, thus lifting them out of poverty. He explained that the project is expected to produce over 2,100 tons of crops from the 5 farms with an expected market value of over 29 million ringgit. Rafizi also said a wide market had been secured for the selected crops and there are buyers to purchase and commercialize them. This should ensure that participants are not exposed to the risk of falling product prices and that their income is secure. The new Digital Ministry announced by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim following a major cabinet reshuffle today will help push the digital agenda more assertively, not just in economic terms but also in social and governance terms. Malaysia University of Science and Technology economist Geoffrey Williams said digitalization is happening at a very fast pace and government policy must also keep pace to maximize the economic and social impact and ensure maximum digital access and involvement. He said the digital economy is just under 25% of the national economy according to the Department of Statistics Malaysia (DOSM), with 1.2 million people employed in the information and communications technology ICT sector. This, however, is the tip of the iceberg because digital economy activity and e-commerce is extending to all aspects of the economy and almost 80% of transactions are e-payments. Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad Chief Economist Muhammad Afzal Nizam Abdul Rashid, meanwhile, is of the view that the evolving nature of the digital economy warrants a specific role or ministry to oversee and craft the necessary policies in the country's digital transformation journey. Earlier, it was reported that Malaysia had taken significant steps in moving the country towards becoming a digitally enabled and technologically advanced high-income nation with clear goals, substantial investments and partnerships. It is believed that Malaysia's digital economy is set to hit its goal of contributing more than 25.5% of the nation's gross domestic product (GDP) by 2025. The Malaysia Auto Show MAS 2024 is targeting over 1.6 billion ringgit in potential sales as well as 250,000 visitors for the event next year. Minister of Investment, Trade and Industry MITI, Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tunku Abdul Aziz said the upcoming edition will not only feature powerhouse brands that shape the automotive ecosystem but also small and medium enterprises from around the world.
Aiming to transform us to an industrial powerhouse. This approach obviously has to center along high technology, talents, and for emphasizing strategic investments in local supply chain development and innovative pursuit of new business opportunities.
Speaking during the pre-launch ceremony of MAS 2024, Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul said that the event was strategically organised to highlight the importance of sustainability in the automotive sector. This includes featuring eco-friendly, energy-efficient vehicles to encourage a greener future for the industry. MAS 2024, organised by the Malaysia Automotive, Robotics and IoT Institute MARI, will take place from 21st to 26 May next year at the Malaysia Agro Exposition Park Serdang MIPS and IOI City Mall Putrajaya. Malaysia Aviation Group MAG will increase its flight frequencies to meet the growth in travel demand through to March 2024 by adding 248 flights to its domestic and international network. In a statement released recently, MAG said the additional frequencies are offered on both Malaysia Airlines and Firefly, departing from Kuala Lumpur International Airport Terminal 1, Subang Airport and Penang International Airport. The statement also said for domestic travel, Malaysia Airlines will increase flights from its main hub in KL International Airport 1 to Cebu from 10 to 12, Tawau from 10 to 16 and Kuching from 54 to 57 weekly. Additionally, Firefly flights from Penang International Airport to Kota Kinabalu will increase from 14 to 15, Langkawi from 10 to 11, and from Subang Airport to Langkawi from 12 to 13 weekly. Meanwhile, MAG said international flights from KL International Airports 1 to Sydney will increase from 14 to 18, Melbourne from 14 to 17, Amritsar from 2 to 4, Cochin from 6 to 7, and Narita from 12 to 14 weekly. Malaysia Airlines will be increasing flights from its hub to key domestic destinations with an increase of 3 additional flights each to Kota Baru and Alor Star, 8 to Sandakan, 9 to Cebu, 1 to Tawau and 2 to Kuching. MAG said that for the Chinese New Year festive period, the airline will increase the KL International Airport 1 to Singapore route by 2 weekly, elevating the frequency from 56 to 58, specifically from 7 and 8 February 2024. Malaysia's automotive industry picked up speed in 2023, bolstered by robust sales for new motor vehicles, efforts to ramp up the usage of electric and energy-efficient vehicles, as well as higher technology investments in line with the government's net zero carbon emission goals. Analysts and industry experts believe this total industry volume (TVI) for this year would surpass last year's, marking the second consecutive year of achieving an all-time high. Key growth drivers this year included the fulfillment of bookings received during the short-term economic recovery plan Penjana sales tax exemption period last year and aggressive campaign sales, mainly by the national car producers, leading to sustained demand and a high volume of order backlog. Automotive can be regarded as one of the country's prominent and busiest industries in 2023, as reflected by the numerous government policy introductions, new multiple billion ringgit investment injections from both local and foreign investors, as well as aggressive business expansions. In 2023, the local industry has seen the emergence of new players, especially in the EV market, such as world-renowned automotive brands Tesla from the United States, as well as BYD and Neta from China, creating greater competition in the local market. Short-term interbank rates closed steady today on Bank Negara Malaysia's BNM operations to absorb surplus liquidity from the financial system. Liquidity in the conventional system narrowed to 26.68 billion ringgit from 28.66 billion ringgit this morning, while the liquidity in Islamic funds widened to 31.18 billion ringgit from 28.58 billion ringgit previously. Earlier, the central bank called for a conventional money market tender, 2 card tenders, 2 reverse repo tenders, as well as Bank Negara Interbank Bills (BNIB). It also announced the availability of reverse repo, sale and buyback agreements and collateralized commodity murabahah facilities for 1 and 3 month tenors. At 4 p.m. called for a 26.70 billion ringgit conventional money market tender and 31.20 billion ringgit murabahah money market tender, both for one-day money. The Malaysia Islamic Overnight Rate (MYORI) stood at 3% as of 11 December. Now, according to a dealer, the Malaysian rubber market closed mixed today as positive sentiment arose from gains in benchmark crude oil prices. She said that oil prices inched up today as investors exercised caution ahead of the crucial United States interest rate decision as well as inflation data to be released later today. However, concerns over a supply surplus and slower demand growth continued to put a cap on gains. Meanwhile, oil investors remain skeptical that total supply will decrease, despite the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies OPEC Plus pledged to cut production by 2.2 million barrels per day for the first quarter of 2024, given that expected output growth in non-OPEC countries would lead to excess supply next year. At press time, the global benchmark Brent crude increased by 0.17% to $76.16 per barrel. The Malaysian rubber boards price for standard Malaysian rubber 20 SMR20 inched up by half a cent per kilogram to 665.5 cent per kilogram, while latex in bulk was unchanged at 539 cent per gram. At 5 p.m., the reference price for physical SMR20 stood at 668.5 cent per kilogram, while latex in bulk was at 540 cent per kilogram. According to the Malaysian Palm Oil Board MPOB, the country's total palm oil stocks fell by 1.09% to 2.42 million tonnes in November from 2.45 million tonnes in October. In its latest industry performance report for November 2023, the MPOB said crude palm oil CPO inventory decreased by 3.89% to 1.34 million tonnes last month from 1.39 million tonnes in October. Meanwhile, processed palm oil stocks were higher by 2.62% to 1.08 tonnes in November from 1.05 tonnes previously. CPO production declined by 7.66% to 1.79 million tonnes in November from 1.94 million tonnes in the previous month, and the palm kernel output went down by 8.04% to 4,031 and 641 tonnes from 404 tonnes earlier. The MPOB said palm oil exports slipped by 5.67% or 83,965 tonnes to 1.39 million tonnes in November from 1.48 million tonnes previously, while oleochemical exports improved by 86.76% to 495,141 tonnes. Biodiesel exports, meanwhile, weakened by 65.08% to 17,971 tonnes in November from 51,462 tonnes in the preceding month. Exports of palm kernel cake grew 63.76% to 284,031 tonnes last month, while palm kernel oil exports strengthened by 9.67% to 99,768 tonnes from 90,972 tonnes in October. There was no CPO import in November, while total palm oil imports slid by 16.53% to 39,696 tonnes, compared with 47,557 tonnes in the previous month. The United Nations on Tuesday declared junta-ruled Myanmar as the world's largest source of opium. According to UN Office on Drugs and Crime, opium cultivation in the Golden Triangle in Southeast Asia continued to expand over the past year, with a significant increase in Myanmar. In its latest report titled Southeast Asia Opium Survey 2023, Cultivation, Production and Implications, the UN Regional Office for Southeast Asia and the Pacific revealed that since the 2021 military takeover in Myanmar, opium cultivation grew by 18% from 40,100 to 47,100 hectares. The United Nations Office for Drugs and Crime, UNODC, said this was over 3 times more than Afghanistan during the same period. At 1,080 metric tons today, the potential yield is its highest since 2001. The economic, security and governance disruptions that followed the military takeover of February 2021 continue to drive farmers in remote areas towards opium to make a living. The intensification of conflict in the state of Shan and other border areas is expected to accelerate this trend. India has been the world's fastest growing major economy in the last 2 years and is forecast to retain the top spot in 2024 as the urbanization and industrialization process reaches the rapid takeoff phase. Real gross domestic product (GDP) is forecast to increase more than 6% in both 2023 and 2024, according to the International Monetary Fund (IMF), and compound annual growth will be slightly faster than China, twice as fast as the world economy as a whole, and 4 times faster than in the advanced economies. India's economy and demographic resemble China's between the late 1990s and 2000s, indicating there could be 2 more decades of rapid, sustained growth ahead, as well as an enormous associated rise in energy use. For example, real GDP per capita at purchasing power parity in India had risen to $7,100 in 2022, a rate China first reached in 2007-2008. With the United States, China and European Union, India is one of the 4 key building blocks for any projection about energy consumption, fossil fuel use, and emissions at global scale through mid-century. But China's rapid, sustained, and massive growth over the 2000s and 2010s, with its root in the reform and opening of the 1980s and 1990s, provides an indication of the direction and scale of the changes to come. New York State Governor Kathy Hochul on Monday announced a $10 billion partnership to make New York a semiconductor capital of the world. Together with IBM, Micron, Applied Materials, Tokyo Electron, and other semiconductor industry leaders, New York State will establish a next-generation semiconductor research and development center at Albany Nanotech Complex.
And the Chinese in particular are attempting to dominate this industry. And guess what? We have no intention of letting that happen. And that's why here today, we're launching a new $10 billion partnership with leaders from the semiconductor industry and taking one more step forward to make sure New York is the semiconductor capital of the world.
The partnership will fund the construction of a cutting-edge high and extreme ultraviolet lithography center that will support the research and development of the world's most complex and powerful semiconductors. The project is going to be the only one in North America and will be one of the first to be located in the entire Western Hemisphere. The New York Governor's Office said the partnership will make New York State home to the nation's most advanced, publicly owned semiconductor and R&D infrastructure, support the long-term growth of New York's tech economy, and create and retain thousands of direct, indirect, and union construction jobs. And that wraps up this evening's Malaysia Tonight. In our top story, Cabinet reshuffle done to meet current demands and situation. Do tune in to World Today coming up tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. on TV2. From river to the sea, Palestine will be free. I'm Shuhaida Arifin. Thank you for watching.